Wildlife trafficking persists worldwide, inflicting harm on more than 4,000 animal species. Singapore is one such hotspot of the illegal wildlife trade, with herbs identified as one of the most common victims. How are these animals taken from their habitats all the way here? And what happens to them? Most non-native herbs are taken away as hatchlings or juveniles from their habitats by poachers. The rest are the result of captive breeding for trading purposes that pass on generational health problems.
They could be blind on one eye, they might have a deformed skeletal system or deformed heart, so they actually don't have a very good quality of life over time.
Despite fairly stringent laws in place, Singapore is still considered a major center of the illegal wildlife trade, as stated by Traffic, being named as one of the top 10 illegal wildlife trading hubs globally. But with Singapore's strict regulations on exotic pets, some turn to sourcing them from just across the border in Malaysia.
If I buy here, then I want to bring it back myself. Is it possible?
That's I think can because we don't have a license lah. No need license here. Have the customer from Singapore, but I don't know how they take to Singapore.
With different wildlife protection standards, Malaysia's pet shop operates under different regulations and are free to sell to Singaporeans without licenses. For many current and potential exotic herb owners, this is an appealing option despite the risk. The onus is then on the buyers to find ways to transport these animals back into Singapore, sneaking past ICA checks and harsh penalties. So, how are these animals entering Singapore unnoticed? Acres Education Executive Mr. Bing demonstrates how herbs are smuggled across Singapore checkpoints by being squeezed into plastic cups and bottles that can stress them out and even suffocate them. A portion of these herbs are discovered at the checkpoint and confiscated to be contained in Singapore, while the rest cross undetected to their urban homes. When confiscated, animal welfare group Acres keeps the non-native herbs within their facility. But should a measure of last resort be treated like a safety net? The high volume of confiscated animals stretches thin their resources to care for and house the herbs. Acres sometimes conducts wildlife repatriation, which is the returning of wildlife to the country of origin. But this is extremely rare, requiring firstly, evidence of the animal's foreign origin, secondly, the proof of their journey here to Singapore, and lastly, a capable party willing to receive them. Besides the herbs living out their days in Acres, a portion also enters Singapore undetected. While in captivity, the wildlife can struggle to adapt to the Singaporean climate and the urban environment.
One of the relatable content is how we all suffered during the circuit breaker. Yeah. You know, you got your favorite food delivered at your doorstep, you got your shows on Netflix, but we were all missing something, which is the freedom of choice. You couldn't do what you want to do when you want to do it. That is what wild animals experience in captivity.
At the end of the day, wildlife should not be seen as pets. We need to shift our perspective to one that's animal-centric, focusing on the needs of wildlife, not human desires. To change this mindset, public education must emphasize on the difference between pets and wildlife.
The messaging has to be along the welfare angle that wild animals do not mix with pets because you cannot meet their needs at chemist.
Remember the countless wildlife that have suffered to make it across the borders. An interest in owning one of them can in turn kill many. Let's stop this issue at the root. By educating ourselves and rejecting ownership of exotic herbs, we can help end this cycle of exploitation.